Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we're going to start with this. This guy keeps on, this guy came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he's saying very interesting things, and he was an ex-Rippler. His name's Sean McBride. Andersell, he says Ripple's growing their New York office, offering 15 job openings right now. Let's see if this, I don't know if this was where this came from. This is just a general job opening right here in terms of what the career opportunities, but Ripple's hiring all over the place. But let's go back to this tweet. So they've got 15 job openings in New York. This is a contrast to their headquarters in San Francisco that offers just 11 job openings at the moment. Sean McBride, who's the guy that used to work there, he says, my guess is they IPO in Singapore, not London. Andersell asked, potentially. I love that office. They still have a lot of work to do in the EU and a lot less in Southeast Asia. In terms of regulatory appeal, the fact that Ripple now has approval from the Bank of Ireland does open the door to the EU. I give the edge to Singapore because they are just so far ahead in the space comparatively. So he's floating the idea of a Singapore IPO in the midst of Ripple, in my opinion, converting into the Amazon of digital assets, where they don't just offer cross-border payments, but they're doing custody and all sorts of other things. You're in the midst of watching it, and I'll show you a video to such as other things like tokenization, but I'll show you a video here, just a refresher here in a minute on that. First, I wanted to show you against the backdrop, because you don't know when this is going to happen. It could happen any moment. Link 2 has got a special today, and I want to make sure that I say it correctly. Today until 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, they're going to do 5% off all of their orders below $10,000, 10% off all orders $10,000 to $25,000, and 15% off all orders above $25,000. And that's, let me make sure I got that, till 1:30 p.m. Pacific time today, they're going to be doing that. Just wanted to make you aware of that. Now, there's a part of the Gary interview that was missed in my last video, and it's the part where they ask Gary about Ethereum.
And then I think about how many things can be used in a deleterious way. Of course, but it has nothing to do with the underlying thing that you're using itself. I can go run a car into a parade and run over 40 people. That doesn't mean we shouldn't have cars, does it?
No, you should have cars.
I wasn't going to use guns because, God, I don't want to trigger, so to speak, anyone on the set. But
when the use case of a particular thing that you're buying and selling as an investment is just speculative investment.
How many of the 90% of the people that own Bitcoin are using it for ransomware? There must be another use case that makes it so attractive to so many people.
Speculative investing.
Right. Speculative investing. That's what. Okay. Let me ask a separate question, which is just to pivot this, because I think the next sort of order event question is what happens to Ethereum. For those in the crypto world, they all want to know how you're thinking about that. And really, if Ethereum is a security, how does that analysis differ from how you would think about Bitcoin?
What we did in January was cabin to one set of filings. We have other filings, you're absolutely right, in front of us, but I'm not going to prejudge it for you or the audience. That's something that a 5-member commission discusses.
Well, they didn't discuss it when they did the Bill Hinman speech, the 5-member. They didn't vote on anything. He just went out and gave a speech. So again, Gary continues to lie about that. Now, look what's happening, folks. We've got the prices Bitcoin crossed 52,000 yesterday, and as it's always done since I got in this space, all of that excitement and money starts to flow down into other digital assets. If I was in charge of the terminology, I would call Bitcoin the altcoin because XRP is the one. Okay, but XRP, which they currently call an altcoin, is at 55 cents. So XRP is up 7.42% over the last 7 days, 4% in 24 hours. Don't be surprised if we see XRP surge. Now, let's listen to, I wanted you to hear a little bit of this. Guy's a Bitcoin maxi type, but we've heard about God candles. Now hear about the Omega candle. That's all they can talk about Bitcoin, because they're not going to talk about anything being built on it or anything like that. But they'll talk about the markets and speculation and green candles. And here's, I just thought this one was interesting.
Yeah, so the Omega candle is a 100K green candle on the daily. And this is what happened after a God candle, which is 10K. Okay. So the God candle has been talked about in trading circles for some time. But I figure with the advent of the ETFs and this massive change in the macroeconomic landscape, it's time for a bigger candle to measure. And I like the term Omega because you can quantify it. Like a 2 Omega day would be a 200K candle, or a 3 Omega, kind of like you measure earthquakes on the Richter scale, right? It's like a magnitude 6, right? So I think we both agree that 1 million is an inevitability for Bitcoin, just simply because we're printing and have printed so much money. Debt is through the roof. So we're going to hit some point at which either they lower the rates or the money dies. But I mean, both are going to mean Bitcoin's going to go up. So it doesn't really matter. It's an eventuality, because the Bitcoin fiat price is a factor of fiat clown world. And
I agree with all of that. I just don't know that I agree that Bitcoin is going to be the one. I'm going to show you this first. Now, here's eGreg Crypto talking about XRP and what he's seeing. You know, most of this is being triggered right now by the Bitcoin hype and all that stuff. But as we know, when the utility kicks in, it's going to make Bitcoin look like, what's it going to make it look like? Nothing. Okay. All right. Anyway, I wanted to show you this part of what eGreg Crypto says. He's talking about potential for 7,000% breakout. Mega move. It could be the prelude to the mega move, a breakout that occurs once in a lifetime. It would complete the W formation. This move could signify a 500% increase from the current price, potentially initiating a massive price pump to higher levels. 7,000% pump. The idea of a 7,000% move to $2 seems incomprehensible to 99% of people. But once utility kicks in, it could just be the beginning of the multi-decade trade. Now, what I want you to be thinking about is, okay, what's happening with Bitcoin? You've got speculators that are coming in to invest in Bitcoin. What I've always said, but all Bitcoin is this store of value. That's what they had to come up with, that marketing terminology, because it has no utility. Now, imagine, so put Bitcoin and XRP side by side. This is the way I've always looked at this. So people are speculating on Bitcoin because, it's the fiat banking system and Bitcoin has a limited amount. Well, what they never want you to focus on is that so does XRP. XRP also has a limited amount. And it may be a larger limited amount, but it's all relative. In other words, XRP may be at 50 cents, whereas Bitcoin, because of its 21 million supply versus 100 billion, is at $60,000 or whatever it is, 52,000 a day. Well, that's all relative. If you put $100,000 in the Bitcoin and $100,000 in the XRP, and they're both limited, they've got the same properties in that respect as, the same reasons that would drive Bitcoin up, because it's the anti-fiat currency. Those same principles would also drive an XRP up. But here's the question. What happens when the investing public realizes that utility is flowing through XRP, which can't happen in Bitcoin because there is no utility, and that price is slowly moving up? If it's got the same properties, the same limited amount as Bitcoin, where do you think the money's going to flow once that is realized? And how is it going to be realized? Well, here's a little refresher.
I'm hoping that we're going to see, as real world asset tokenization projects grow, I think the XRP ledger is going to be a really good platform for them to launch on, particularly because of the low fees and because of the integration with the DEX, with the proximity to sort of the movement of funds. The ability, if someone's going to buy, what do you want to do with a real world tokenized asset? You want to buy it, you want to sell it, you want to hold it, you want to transfer it. And if you want to buy it and sell it, you want to be able to do that with whatever asset is convenient for you. You don't want to tie, if you tokenize some sort of debt, like you don't want to tie it to US dollars, because then that limits access to it to people who have sort of proximity to US dollars. One of the things the XRP ledger is good for is giving you sort of proximity to many different assets, and that exchange is seamlessly built in. So I think that's one of the many reasons why the XRP ledger is going to be a good place to launch tokenized real world assets. I think we'll see that in the next year and a half.
Talk about hype. What's the hype going to be then? Stan Druckenmiller has dumped tech stocks and bought gold miners. You're reading this right. Arguably one of the world's greatest investors. Central banks are stockpiling gold. Now legendary investors are buying miners. That's what I showed you earlier. And then today, this came out, or yesterday, John Deaton, prominent crypto attorney, eyes U.S. Senate race against Elizabeth Warren. Now, look, folks, if this is hitting the, the Boston Globe? If this is hitting the Boston Globe, then I say strap in, because this is going to be a lot of fun. Remember all that fun we had uncovering ETHgate? Now imagine if we can just turn all that on Elizabeth Warren and just expose her for all of her lies. But oof, this is going to be fun. Now, in DAIXRP.com, I'm going to give you some inside baseball. I'm going to tell you what's been going on behind the scenes. I'm going to tell you what I've been doing. I'm going to tell you what I am doing and who I met yesterday and what's going on. And there's a lot of interesting things going on. So I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. DAIXRP.com. You're going to find what I'm about to say very interesting.